So why are you a Catholic? Why are you a member of the Catholic Church? I'm a member of the Catholic Church because I believe that the Catholic Church is the only Christian denomination in existence today that goes all the way back to Jesus. This was the church founded by the apostles and continued on now for almost 21 centuries. No other Christian church can say that. All other Christian churches are break-offs of the Catholic Church. And I'm not saying the Catholic Church is perfect. You know as well as I, we've got big problems, especially now with the sex abuse and the cover-up and all that. But it's still the church of Jesus. That's one of the beauties of our church. However, one of the drawbacks is because we have this over 2,000 years of history and accumulation and the establishment of an institution, that along the way we have developed doctrines and dogmas. And most of us were taught that faith is understanding and acknowledging and believing in doctrines and dogmas. But that's not faith. Those are the creeds. In the orders of worship, after this little homily, we say we're going to pray the profession of faith. That's not profession. That's the profession of our creed. For most of us, that's far different than our faith. When we go through the creed in a couple minutes, think about it. How many of those items actually affect you personally? How many of those items actually form the way you make your decisions? If I remember it, I'll repeat that then. I don't think a lot of them have much influence on our daily decisions in life. Because our daily decisions in life are based on faith, not creeds. So, as I said earlier, increase our faith. And as I said already, we already have faith. Now the key is, what do we have faith in? What do we have faith in? What do we believe each day of our lives that form the basis of our decisions, our priorities, our attitudes, and our actions? And what our challenge is as disciples of Jesus is to more and more base our faith on the teachings and the example of Jesus and not just ordinary living. As an example, we all probably have faith in our bank accounts. And that's not bad, but sooner or later they're going to fail us. A lot of us have faith in our health, and sooner or later that's going to fail us. As I said earlier, you have faith in your spouse or your children or your family and friends. And if your life is like most lives, sometime in life, some of those faiths are going to betray you. But faith in Jesus and in Jesus' ways and in Jesus' teachings will never fail us. Because you know as well as I, they lead us beyond this life when everything else will fail us, but that will continue on. So it isn't that we don't have faith. It's the challenge to readjust our faith into those values that will never betray us or fail us. Faith that will last us forever. And that's the key. To realize that, to use it, and to release it. That's the challenge. Now, as we establish that for ourselves, sooner or later, there's two things that are needed as we're doing that, because we're never finished. Number one is, don't be a stumbling block for others. That's usually what we do as human beings. Because we're human, we usually notice the negative. We notice the mistakes in ourselves and others, and we usually criticize others for their mistakes. Think about it. Think about our conversation last week with your loved ones. How many times did you compliment them for all of the good they're doing versus perhaps complaining or criticizing them for the mistakes they made. I think about this often. When you get a letter and one word is misspelled, don't you zero in on it? You don't think about the other 200 words that are spelled correctly. Part of human nature. So in our lives, in our following of Christ, don't be a stumbling block for others. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is that we have to learn more and more to forgive. Because none of us are perfect. All of us make mistakes. All of us hurt others. And we need to continue to develop the spirit of forgiveness. We pray it all the time in the Our Father. Forgive us, you know the praise. That's the challenge. And never to let that to betray us in not forgiving others as we follow the message of Christ. Now the problem is we live in a selfish society. We live in a society that stresses me first. We live in a society that teaches entitlement and it's so hard for us not to absorb that. You know, if something happens today, what's the first thing people say? Who can I sue? It's always that attitude about me first, the rugged individualism of our Western capitalistic culture. Now that's what we're struggling with, because that's not the teaching of Jesus. Jesus wants us to distinguish success with being a servant. That was the end of the gospel. After we've done everything we're expected to do, don't ask, what am I going to get out of it? That's not the message of Jesus. Our church is not here to serve us. We're the church. It's not somebody else. We're the church. And we're here to remind ourselves, to ask ourselves, what can I do to serve others? What can I do to help others? What can I do to make the life of others better? It goes against our human nature, doesn't it? Aren't you saying to yourself, no, I want to think about me, and that's normal. But that's our challenge in faith, to grow with the outward vision rather than an inward vision. Celebrating the Eucharist. Are we here just to get communion? That's what we take from the altar. Think about what we're willing to put on the altar. That's the challenge. It goes both ways. Now Habakkuk, as I started at the beginning, he complained about, he didn't like the way God was controlling the world. He complained about violence and injustice. Don't we do the same? When was the last time you looked at the problems in the world and you said to yourself, why doesn't somebody do something about this? The teachings of Jesus is, why don't we do something about it? God is not going to step into our world with a magic wand and solve our problems. God, through the teaching of Jesus, empowers us, our thinking and our actions, to do something about the injustice and the evil in the world. And God waits for us. So many people think about, all the Jews that were exterminated during World War II. Why didn't God step in and do something about it? Because God was waiting for us to step in and do something about it. Now, it takes a while. That's the problem. For us to realize and get organized. But that's the challenge. Think about Jesus on the cross. He is still our only example. On the cross, he didn't say, what's in it for me? He didn't say, Father, increase my faith. He just said, Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. We want to say that not just when we give up our last breath, but could we say it today? Father, into your hands I commend my spirit, that more and more we would become those servants of the ways of Jesus today as church.
Thank you for watching this week's homily here at St. Elizabeth Ann Seton. We invite you to join us for liturgy any weekend that you might be in the area. You can contact us at mysaintelizabeth.com or on Facebook. Thank you very much.